Hey, what's up guys? Before I make the next video, I wanted to share with you guys a post that I'm coming back to for I think now the fifth time. The fifth time in the last 1 week, right? I think this post right here is the best single post in any blog forums I have read in this entire year, in every SEO community period, right? So I want to read it out to you guys. It's from a guy called Jared Spiewak, okay, and it's in Lions Hill. All right. Today I hit 20K MRR, 20810 MRR to be exact. I don't know what MRR is, but it's dollars, okay? So he hit $20,000 a month, okay, recently. I'm 20 years old. I've been doing this shit since I was 14. I started doing this full time when I was 18. So really, 90% of what I have learned and what I have made of myself has been credited to the last 2 years. I fucked up a lot to get here, and I mean a lot. There's been months where I had 50% of my revenue, where I had lost 50% of my revenue, plenty of sleepless nights, 18 to 20 hour work days, and still work 7 days a week. I want to list off some of the things that I've been thinking about and I had to learn to make it here. All of this has been said 100 times before, but also I read it 100 times and didn't let it sink in. Number one, sales is all that matters. I've worked for over 24 agencies, from startups to 10 million a year. I've analyzed them and their competitors. 80% of their agencies I have looked at rarely get decent results. There's an agency, I won't say who, with 1,000+ clients. I have talked to at least 24 of their past clients and know a couple of people that work for that said agency. Their success rate is very low for anything that is not next to zero competition. So basically they suck at rankings and everything. But they have a ton of clients and make over $100 million a year. Why? They have a massive sales team. So this part, it rings so hard with me because my business partner has a business that makes him $35,000 a month, and it's just websites. People pay him every single month to just keep their website live. Not bashing it, but he's a master at sales, and he convinced them that the value they're getting just with the website being live, without having to promise SEO, results, maps, anything, just with the website being live is enough, and they pay him anywhere from $200 to $700 every single month for it, right? Sales. So carrying on. They don't need to ever know SEO, FB ads, etc. They just need to know how to sell it like they do. My mistake, doing all the work myself. I still do 80% of the SEO work. I'm working on process now, but I should have done that from the start. I could have also partnered with other agencies to send them some of the clients I got. Take time off my hands to focus on sales. It doesn't matter how good at SEO you are if you can't sell it to somebody. All right. So for all the people who's always going too much into rankings, this is a time to reflect back and work on your sales side, right? Both are equally as important, if not sales a little bit more. All right. Move on. 10K is not 10K. It seems like everyone has a goal of 10K per month. I did too. But I was making more doing hourly work for an agency to make 5K per month than when I was working with clients getting 10K. With 50% margins, that's 5K. If you're keeping money in a business account, join courses, paid groups, etc., investing in marketing and client acquisition, that's even less. So that goes to say, how, like for, that's just what he says there, right? Your margins are not exactly what you think it'll be when you are trying to scale, especially, right? Right now, my margin is pretty high. It's close to 80-90%. But the way I'm putting it, where I have to hire a few more people, it shouldn't be like that. And that's the way to go. Your margin shouldn't be 80-90%. It should be more like 50-60%, because if you're doing 80-90, it means you're doing too much of the work yourself. All right. Niche down for the fuck's sake. I love how this guy puts it. There's various levels of niche. You don't need to do just SEO for roofers. Wait, let me pause it. Somebody's on my door. Fuck, man. Niche down for the fuck's sake. There's various levels of niche. You don't need to just do SEO for roofers in Florida. There's like 3 levels, right? All right. You can niche down to just SEO, just e-com, local, roofers, lawyers, etc. There's a lot of ways to define your niche. I personally niche to local SEO. I specialize in home services and law for my home services clients. I also offer pay-per-click. Anything else you want me to handle, I'll tell them that I'm hiring a third party to fulfill it. I can build websites all day long, but for clients, that's not what I do. This part I feel so much because, as you guys know, I often complain about how much time I spend with websites because I suck at building websites, and it's so annoying to deal with a client that wants to change this color and that, and also kind of right in the beginning, it makes it okay for them to nag you, right? Because a website, whenever you're building a website for somebody, it means you're lining yourself up to get nagged, right? Because it's not going to be perfect the first time. They're going to have to ask you like, oh, can we change this? Oh, can you make this a little bit like that? And they're already getting in the condition of being able to be like, oh, that, oh, that, oh, that. And then you start doing SEO, then they'll also kind of be in that move of all that, all that. But if you didn't, then there's also a problem where, like, if they have to outsource it to somebody else, they could possibly get in the, they might get pitched for something else with that company. So I think the way he does it here is really great, where he lets them know that I'm hiring a third-party company to get this done. And then if you play your cards right, where you're just like the middleman, which is like taking information and passing it on, it's good. All right. Yeah, I pay a guy to do it for me. I don't want an in-house development team. That's more margins, processes, SOPs, and logistics to worry about. So fucking true. All the research time I spend on local SEO and a little bit on PPC, I read law marketing blogs. I follow HS Industry as well. It saves me time. New algorithm update that's affecting affiliate SEOs, I don't do any. So I don't bother reading it. This is huge because this is something that's been dawning on me recently, and I don't see it like said so well anywhere else, right? I tend to read anything that comes up that sounds interesting, right? But we realize that a lot of the reading we do takes time, right? Like, we have to realize, like, these little things in our day, it takes time. Even a phone call from somebody who's like, I don't know, even phone calls take a lot of time, right? A lot of us spend so much time talking to a partner of ours. If you're getting a call every single day, like 2-3 times, and each call is 30 minutes, that's an hour and 30 minutes. It's okay if you want to do that call, but if it just comes and interrupts you, that's time wasted. Just like that, if you're reading all the blogs out there and that's not to do with your business, you're wasting a shit ton of time. It doesn't matter how good you are. I've been doing some crazy good work on AdWords lately for some local companies. I got cocky and took on a job for an industry outside my niche expertise, thinking if I could get results there with PPC, I could do it here too. Big mistake. The campaign is a nightmare. Just because you're the local SEO guy, gal, doesn't mean you can't later do e-commerce also do it. But if you split your attention too much, you're not going to come out great most times. Very true. We just have to realize that most of us are not freaking Elon Musk, right? We have to focus. 4, it works. This is one of my favorite ones. Okay. Does cold email work? Yes. Does cold calling works? Yes. Does throwing your business cards out of the helicopter work? Yes. Okay. This is so great because if you guys remember, I made a little video of all the methods that that I'm trying to get into. All of those work. It's just the one we chose that we want to put our attention into is the one we're going to grow. You can't do all of them. You can't master all 17 techniques of client acquisition from day one and be good at all of them at the same time. It's impossible pretty much, right? So yeah, it's a matter of ROI and figure out how to do it. You can't send 100 emails and expect to get a client. You can't send the exact template someone gave you and expect to get clients. So fucking true. You need to figure this shit out for yourself. Did you send 300 emails and not have anybody interested? Well, did you try to figure out why that happened? No? Fuck you. The ferociousness in his writing, you can tell this guy's like, this is not BS. This is real shit, right? It's shiny, but also sharp. I have ADHD, which means my life is a shiny object syndrome. This ties into the last point, but if 300 cold emails didn't work, don't move on to something else or you'll just be hurting yourself. Imagine writing a book and every time you get writer's block, you just start a brand new book. How the hell can you expect to ever publish anything? Again, mastery. Understand yourself and how you want to operate. I don't do any cold calling. I never have and never will. I don't do whatever it takes to get the sale. Neither of those things are business practices I like. I use methods that I do like. Just because someone says you have to do cold emailing doesn't mean you do. If you hate cold contacting, then don't do it. There's a million other acquisition methods. Just make sure you give it enough time to actually work. For every one person that is working on a method that works, there's a dozen that will tell you it doesn't. Why? They never figured it out. Yeah, so freaking true, right? People who are master at cold calling, they would say like, emails don't work. What the fuck? People who are emailing, they say cold calling sucks. It's just the way it is. Qualify leads. Turn away bad ones. One that I learned, not too long ago. This has been my number one hindrance during my first real year. If someone wanted to pay me, I'll work with them. It would be decent $500 to $3,000 a month budgets, but I would take on clients that I knew would be a pain, or that I had no idea what I was doing because I had some idealistic goal of 10K a month. Those clients made me depressed, had me overworked and hating what I did, and added so much unneeded stress. If you're making enough to live, then there's no reason to take on work for the sake of money. Such an excellent way to put it, because everywhere you hear like some people say that, like if you're starting, then take on anyone so you get experience. And the other side is like, don't take on bad clients whatsoever. So the people who are starting in the beginning, they're like, well, I don't have any cash flow right now. Should I really turn down my client who's going to pay me $1,000 a month just because he's like a little naggy? The answer is right there. If you're making enough to live, if your rent is paid and your food is paid, don't take on anybody who stresses you out, right? It's done. That's the answer. That's the sweet spot. Lastly, action. If you take action, you'll never see a reaction. If you don't take action, if you don't think of some elaborate email sequence, send emails, come up with the sequence later. So fucking true. This is something I'm just getting into now, right? How can I make it so more automated, nice? If they reply this way, they'll get this back. There's no reason to get that completely structured out in the beginning. In the beginning, just bang out the emails. Just send that shit. So you can prove it to yourself that you have it in you and it works. If you try to get something perfect before you start, you'll burn yourself out from spending dozens of hours on something where you have gotten nothing from it, when you never took action needed to see the result in the first place. Like I said, nothing new here, just some reinforcement that we can all use. It's 5 a.m. here in Chiang Mai. I can barely be awake, but I wanted to write something half coherent before. It's fucking cohesive, man. Alright, so wanted to share with you guys this shit. This guy is one of the best posts ever. You guys know I never share something like this usually. This is amazing. Good shit.